9. But ye are not in the flesh, but in the Spirit. If so be that the Spirit of God dwell in you. Now if any man have not the Spirit of Christ, he is none of his. Ooh. Apostle Paul addressed the church of Romans in such a way that when you read it, you get punched in the face, in the eyes, in the nose, in the mouth. He says that if you have the Spirit of Christ in you, that's the only way you can be his. That's the only way you can be a true son. You must have his spermatozoa DNA inside of you. True sonship, I cannot say physically if I gave birth to Josiah, but he had, I don't know, Mickey Mouse was his father. That was in my childhood. That was my first husband, okay? I used to carry him around and say, "This is my husband." Like, I think back on my times of old, and I say, I was always one that was for marriage, even as a little baby. I used to carry him around and say, "This is my husband." 2, what do you know at 2 about a husband? Tell myself, "This is my husband." My auntie just reminded me of that. I was always marriage-minded. Because he's a man, I was like, she was like, "But what about me? This is my husband." So if Mickey Mouse was truly his father, that could not be Jamel's DNA, amen? You would look at it and say, half human, half cartoon. Something's wrong with that. Something right with that. He would not have his features. He would not carry himself like his father. He would not walk like him. He would not have his DNA. Having Christ in you changes your DNA. You begin to walk like him, talk like him, look like him, act like him. That's how you know if you have a true son. Their conversion. You could be in the pulpit all day and your image ain't like Christ. Your DNA, your daddy, and someone else. You could be a parishioner in the seats, just come out the club like, "But I still need Jesus." And be sitting right on the front pew and still not have his DNA. You might have the impartation of the pastor to flow. But your flow is coming from a demonic source. You've intruded onto the battlefield and gotten some power that you know not of, called witchcraft. And with this witchcraft, now you deceive the whole body. All the parishioners, they're like, "Ooh, they got power." No, we need to come in contact with the true Christ. And when we see, we say, "That ain't God. That's not a son. That's an imposter. You ain't even a stepchild. Our mother and father aren't the same. Our big brother ain't the same. We don't share the same bloodline." We have to have the ability to see imposters at the door.